day, Sanai. How are you doing? I'm Diné, your cooking hostess tonight. Um, Tonight, what we are going to go over is a lot about beans. A lot of us are used to eating beans, refried beans, bean stew, but not a lot of people get into putting beans into salads and making beans into, I'm not going to call them burgers, but patties. Beans are loaded in a lot of protein, um, a lot of fiber, a lot of your, other nutrients, um, and you can use them in so many different ways. So the three things that we are going to go over tonight, that I'm going to teach you to do, is one is a three-sister salad. So this is going to use beans, it's going to have corn, it's going to have squash. It can also be used as kind of like a salsa, but because 4th of July, all these cookout holidays are right around the corner, I want to give you a little bit of an alternative to having jarred salsa, to having that potato salad, all these things that are going to be high in calories, high in fat. And then also with the bean patties, I want to give you also a different alternative. Instead of the hamburgers, you can have bean patties that you're just going to be just as tasty, just as delicious, but you're not going to have as much saturated fat in them as well. But you can still dress them up the way you would a regular burger, or you can also put a different type of toppings on them. So it's really up to you. These are just going to be healthier alternatives for those cookouts that you're probably going to end up going to. All right, so we're first going to start with the Three Sisters salad. So in this bowl, I have pinto beans, I have northern beans, I have light red beans, and then also corn. Now this is going to make a lot, so you're going to need a big bowl like this. And what we're going to be using are those 15 to 16 ounce cans of beans. You want to use either low sodium or no salt if you're able to find them. Beans, you're going to rinse them off, as I have done with all of these, from off that aquafaba, that it's that bean juice that comes with it. That's what is called aquafaba. And then what you're going to do is get all of these into a bigger bowl. Right? So we'll take some black beans as well, add it to there. And it can be any type of bean that you want. Like I said, this one I've just used pinto beans, white beans, black beans, light kidney, red beans. You can also use kidney beans, navy beans. And then to this, we're also going to add some yellow squash. We're going to add some chopped up red pepper. We're going to add some Roma tomato. And with Roma tomato, the reason I use it in this is because Roma tomatoes tend to have less tomato juice, if that's what you want to call it, the tomato jelly in it, than other tomatoes. So with this, what I'm going to do is just take out the seeds in the center. And then everything that you cut up to go into this, you want it to be about the same size. About the same size as your beans. So you want everything to be pretty similar. So we've got that. We also have some jalapeno. It depends on how much of a kick you want this to have. You can leave the ribs in, you can leave the seeds in if you want to. And then also with jalapenos, I don't know if you knew this, but if you see a jalapeno and it looks like it has, I don't want to call it stretch marks, but it has some of that ribbing on the outside, those will usually have a little more kick to them than something that's smooth on the outside.
I always pick the thin ones, because it seems that the thin ones are ones that are hot compared to the chunky fat ones.
And then we're also going to add some shallot. Now I like shallot, it's kind of a cross between onion and also garlic. So it has that scent of an onion, but it kind of has that kick to it as like garlic. So I'm just going to do a fine mince on this. And then last but not least, we're going to put in some cilantro. Now, if you're not a fan of cilantro, you don't have to add it. I know your mom doesn't.
I use cilantro in tacos instead of lettuce. So, quick question.
Yes.
A lot of individuals that I know of will not eat the beans because it gets them gassed up. Is there anything that you recommend that they are not getting gassed up, or is it just something that will,
It really depends. If you're making beans from scratch, the one thing that I was always taught, and it always actually has worked, is right toward the end of when they're cooking, if you put about a teaspoon of baking soda in there.
Yeah, that's what I've done.
It will help take out that.
Okay.
It'll help neutralize it a little bit more.
Yeah, that's usually what I do, but I was like, well, I don't know if it actually, I guess I really never even noticed, you know? But that's what I usually do is put baking soda in.
Yeah, if you put a little bit of baking soda in the end. Another thing that you can do is when you're soaking your beans, if you soak them, if you put baking soda in at that point too, and while you rinse the water out, it will help as well.
Oh, okay. Sounds good.
So into this, we're going to put, okay, this is a slow drizzle, so if it was a little faster, this is going to be about a half a cup of olive oil. Now, olive oil is one of the healthier oils. And we have red wine vinegar as well.
Yeah.
Put in, usually I use kosher salt. And then you're going to add in a lot of other acid you're going to put in, depending on how big and how juicy limes and lemons. This is going to be juicy.
Yeah, I love to eat them, so just seeing that is
And they both, bring their different flavors. Limes are a little more, I don't want to say mellow, but if you were to compare limes and lemons to guys and girls, limes are more of the guy that comes in and is like, hey, what's up? And the lemons are like the more tart, the more bright, more fruity. You're like, oh, hey, how's it going? Get the party started. Kind of thing. So that's kind of how I relate personalities to my food.
because I'm not looking at lemon and lime again.
this one actually comes together really quick. Once you have all your beans rinsed, it's just throwing everything into the bowl. And in comparison, like if you were to go out and get a jar of salsa, and take it to a barbecue, if you look at, because I'm a huge, labels nerd. I'm the one that's going to be in the aisle, at the grocery store. I read all the labels, like, okay, what's in this, what's in this. So if you were to read the ingredients on a jar of salsa, you're going to see that the amount of sodium that's in a jar is high. I mean, it's really high. And then you're eating that on top with, salty, chips.
Yeah.
So usually the next day, if you find that your body is feeling swollen or, your fingers or your feet just, your rings don't come off, that's usually why. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, I need to Huh?
Mangoes would go good with that.
It would. But yeah, you could pretty much add anything you want to this. This is my tasting spoon. Throw in the oil. And then while you let this sit and rest, any salt that you put in this, it's going to draw out any natural juices, especially from the tomatoes, from the squash. So it's going to start to develop its own juices as well.
And it's just raw, the squash is not good.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it's just raw. So just those few cans of beans, corn, a few Roma tomatoes, and squash, you get a huge thing like this. Try it. Just about. The vinegar. And I prefer using my own or doing my own pepper rather than the pre-ground stuff. Because with this one, as soon as you crack it, the oils from the pepper will start to be released until you get a more intense flavor. Where the other stuff, if it's pre-ground, you have no idea how long it's been sitting on. Okay, so that's pretty much done. And then honestly, I could probably eat this for days at a time.
Like with regular beans, when I make regular beans, I'll eat beans until, like, my mom will be like, you should probably throw it out now. You sure?
Really?
Yeah, I like beans.
So, let me try it.
Let's see.
And you can always adjust any of the flavors if you feel that you don't want to use as much of the red wine vinegar, you don't have to put as much. If you want to put a little bit more lemon or a little bit more lime, you can always adjust that. So all the ingredients are just, you can adjust them to what your preference is.
Very good.
So that's a quick and easy Three Sister because you have all the beans, you have the corn, you have the squash, and then a lot of extra fresh alternatives in there too. So I don't know if y'all can see that. Okay, so that's dish number 1. Now the second that we're going to work on is, let me get this cleaned off.
Pineapple. Watermelon.
You could do watermelon too. Unfortunately, I can't eat watermelon, so again, that's another food allergy that I can't partake in. But again, so with the bean patties, you'll see a lot of different versions in stores. This type of black bean patty. You might even start seeing like the meat alternatives that they're selling in the store as well. But if you don't really know what's in it, they're actually a lot more unhealthy for you than they are healthy. So here is a list of some of the most popular ingredients in some of those, I don't want to call them vegan, but the bean patties or meat alternative patties that are out there. So there's artificial flavors, autolyzed yeast extract, bleached white flour, blue number 1, canola oil, caramel color, carrageenan, copper sulfate, corn oil, corn syrup solids, cultured dextrose, dimagnesium phosphate, dipotassium phosphate, disodium guanylate, disodium inosinate, hydrolyzed vegetable protein, hydrolyzed wheat gluten, magnesium carbonate. Are these things that seem natural?
No.
I mean, the list goes on and on about modified food starches, propyl glycol, red number 3, red number 4. There's all types of salt, sodium alginate, sodium phosphate, sodium sulfite, sodium triphosphate, sorbitol, and the list goes on and on. So these are a lot of the most common and popular ingredients in those types of things that you can find either in the frozen food section or even when you go out to eat, what they put in, what restaurants put in their stuff. So what we're going to do next Okay, so what I'm going to show you to do next are how to make chickpea bean patties. Now I'm going to make the 2 different versions. One is going to be with chickpeas, the other is going to be with black beans. Now I have the 2 different versions because they have different ingredients, and this is also based on if people have different allergies. Now this particular one here with the chickpeas, I'm going to be using green onion, Dijon mustard. Oh wait, actually no, this goes over here. The next one we're going to make. There's going to be tahini, and tahini is a sesame paste. It could almost be comparable to peanut butter, but a lot of the people in the Middle East use it. But instead of being a nut, this is a seed that they grind up into a paste. And a lot of things that people don't realize is that if you're trying to get or trying to make healthier alternatives, instead of just eating vegetables, or a lot of people say, oh, that just tastes like a hockey puck, or that tastes like cardboard. The one thing that they're always missing is the fat, but it's not like animal fat. You want good fat. The tahini, this one has a lot of that sesame fat in it, which is a good fat. In the black bean patties, what we're going to be using are walnuts, and walnuts are high in fat, but it's a good fat. So that's the one thing that people have a misconception on, is that you can't eat better because it doesn't taste good, but that's because you're missing the right types of fat that your body is craving, that your body, when you eat it, that fat is the first thing that carries that flavor of whatever. So let's see, we've got some rice that I'm gonna got a cup of that. We've got some brown rice. We've got chickpeas. Where did I just put that? And with the chickpeas, I left out about a cup of whole versus these, because when I mash these are going to get a little more, again, mashed, not pasty, but broken down, and I'm going to add these in toward the end so you have a little bit more texture in it. If it lasts that long.
Yeah, it's good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could probably eat that all night tonight, just sitting there. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
The tortilla chip.
Mm-hmm.
I think I just like it just plain like that. It tastes pretty good.
No, that one is one of my favorites. And again, I could eat that if it lasts for a few days.
Yeah, it's really good. I like the vinegar taste to it.
Mm-hmm. Did you notice the cilantro?
Yes.
Oh.
I noticed it in my bowl over there too.
I would have asked for more, but yes.
Okay, so once you have that in, we're going to add in the tahini, and this is going to be about two tablespoons. So yeah, we just want that good fat in here now.
I could not take another bite. I don't know what it was or anything. I just thought I'd try it just to see. So I ordered a veggie burger, but just one bite. I could not take another bite.
Yeah, no, again, some of those veggie burgers or the meat alternative burgers, they have different tastes to them that you're like, well, with me, I can easily taste that something's not right in it. We're going to add in more shallot to this one. Or you could also use green onion, which I chopped up as well. And green onion, you could use 2, 3, depending on how much onion you want in there. So I'll use a mixture. And chili flakes. Where did my chili flakes go? Okay. Chili flakes. And then we're going to put in about a 1/4 teaspoon of smoked paprika. So if you have one of those spice carousels that you're not sure what to do with all the spices on there, smoked paprika is really good to use. with this, I do have a food processor here, but I'm not going to use it for mixing this up because I have tried it in the past to mix up the beans and the rice or whatever the filling is, but it starts to make it a little too pasty. Yeah, it gets it a little too pasty, and that's it just doesn't come out right if you use that. Okay, and last we have some parsley to give you some good breath. And with the parsley, I'm going to use mainly most of the leaves, not really too many of the stems.
You put it in a chamber, you put it in one of those strainers, and then you cool it, and then it takes out all the leaves. Yeah, and you just pour it straight through. Yeah.
Yeah, no, with parsley, it seems the stems get a little too tough. But it just depends on what you're making and whether or not you don't mind having that in there. And bunch it all up together.
And all of a sudden you're making all the buildings.
The chili flakes, parsley. I'm just going to put a little bit of kosher salt in this. Hi, Steph. And then we're going to end up with 1 egg. Okay, so I have a pan here. So that now, when I make the patties, you can just easily put them on here. And you can make the patties any size that you want. You can make them the size of your normal hamburger, or you can make them bigger, you can make them smaller. It's really up to you, you know, how big that you want them. I kind of wish I had a few more people here, but the reason for that was because now that, you know, everything is starting to open up, you know, everybody's getting out, everybody is starting to, you know, they've been cooped up all this time. You know, some people, well, the one thing with the diabetes program that, you know, they want to also promote is, you know, mental health or healthy, you know, body, mind, and soul, and that. But you know, for those that may have had or gone through, you know, some type of depression or isolation, you know, during this time, you know, now that they're going to be getting out, seeing family, seeing friends, you know, going to barbecues, meeting again, you know, how is that going to affect them? You know, there are people like with me, I haven't been able to go home to Acoma in quite a while. I just found out that they're opening it up, so I'm excited about that. And being able, knowing that I can go home now, but there are those people that they've been isolated. What are they going to do? They just talk about that, and there's a lot of things that, especially nowadays, that it's still taboo to talk about. If you're not feeling right, should you go see a counselor? Do you call a therapist? Do you have a best friend or your significant other that you can talk to about issues that you're having? And so, just being able to go out and get out with, friends and family during this time is wonderful. But take advantage of, if you have been going through some rough times, just know that they're there. Reach out to them. Just tell them, hey, it's been rough. Just have somebody to talk to. Okay, so these are the chickpea patties, and they come up, pretty well. So again, it's going to be a thicker, I don't want to call it a batter, but it's, something that you can form pretty well.
So the cookie dough? Kind
of like the feel and texture is kind of like a cookie dough, but again, they form really well. So we're going to put these to the side for now. Let's turn this on. Hopefully that turns on. Okay. And now we're going to get started on the black bean patty. Let me wash this one off real quick.
Think of something like a nice set of or like something like that, or what I mean? I wouldn't bring people to come here. So regular price would, they can come here, but then have like the bulk sets or really small one.
I would. Okay, so for the black bean patties, let me get this one started. Black bean patties, what we're going to start with are sauteing up some mushrooms and some onions. Now with the mushrooms, a lot of people don't realize that fungus can grow fungus. So when you're looking at your mushrooms, look at them, smell them. Do they have a funky odor? If they have a bit of a funky odor, look at them, make sure that there's no extra fuzz or some type of mold that's growing inside the gills, if that's split open. And then also with mushrooms, which is also same true for strawberries, the best way to clean these is just to get a wet paper towel and wipe off the outside, because these are just going to draw in a lot more moisture if you actually run them underwater, and the same with strawberries.
Ooh, and then the strong.
Strong, I know.
I love onions.
I usually, well, for me, when I cut onions, I have goggles at home. Anything else I just can't use, but like the actual swimming goggles. Yeah, otherwise I'm on the floor crying. Doesn't matter.
That's good. He was swim buckles there, just all over the country.
Okay, so we're going to start by first sweating down the onions. And a little bit of kosher salt. We're going to start with the onions because it's going to take them, they have a lot more water in them, so it's going to take them a little bit longer to brown. But as soon as they're a little more translucent, then we'll add in the mushrooms. But when you add the mushrooms in, you don't need to add any more salt because if not, it's going to be harder for them to brown. So you want to add salt toward the end when you're doing mushrooms. Okay, so like that. So while that's cooking, got some walnuts that I've already toasted. Put those in there. And when you're toasting walnuts or you're toasting any type of nuts, you want to toast them until you just start to smell that nuttiness come through. But also you need to pay attention because if it smells a little off, because your nuts can go rancid, that's the one thing I would. But when you store them, it's best to store them in the freezer because it will keep them from going rancid.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I just haven't.
Go on.
This I did. And that's yeah, the other one it seems to heat up and then it just stops.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. That's okay. And we need this bowl for mashing everything together. And I'm going to use another cup of brown rice on this one. Now when you're using the rice, the one thing, when you're making the patties, use rice that's a little bit more cooled off because if you put it in when it's hot and if you add your egg to it, it's going to start to cook it right there inside. Then you might feel like you have like scrambled eggs inside your patty. Those are pretty translucent. I'm going to add all of the mushrooms to it.
And about how many mushrooms was that? And the onion.
Let's see. This is going to be, I use a little bit more than a cup, but a cup is about good for rough chopped. But let's see, these that I use, with the mushrooms, these that I'm using are baby portobellas, but you can use white button mushrooms. You could probably use shiitake, and that would have a good flavor to it as well. You could probably even use one large portobello cap, as well just chop that up. But with the mushrooms, they are going to cook down a lot, so even if you use a little bit more than 1 cup of rough chop, that's okay. Those are cooking. I will start grilling up the chickpea.
Smells delicious on it.
So that what was you thinking? Oh, that looks so good. Oh yeah.
And that sauce is good.
So get those down. And then once you actually have the mixtures all combined, you form the patty. It takes almost no time at all to get them fried up. But I would always do it on a griddle or a flat surface, because if you were to do it on a barbecue grill or a grate, because it's not like meat where it's going to hold together, sometimes it can start to crumble and you don't want them falling through. So, yeah, flat surface is better.
Just lightly brown on both sides? Or how long do you usually cook them?
It really depends. If you want them a lot more crispy, you can let them go a little bit longer.
Do you want foil?
Foil. So with the mushrooms and the onion mixture that I have going here, with some of the other herbs that you're going to add into it, it gives it more of a deeper, more earthy flavor. I'm not saying it's going to mimic beef or a hamburger, but it just gives you that deeper note that sometimes you get from beef. you can see that there's a lot of water coming out of here. I forgot to sign it. Oh wait, nope, found it. And with the garlic, I know you hear some people say add it at the beginning. You always want to add your garlic toward the end because it burns really quick.
Yeah, I did that one day. I put it in there to cook it and just had it on low. And then I noticed that it was getting brown really quick and I had to take it.
Yeah. So even if it, or whether it's this recipe or any recipe that you're trying and it's asking for garlic, I would always put it in at the end. Never put it in toward the beginning because it doesn't have a high water content. And so when it starts to cook, it's going to brown really quick. It's high in sugar, or its own sugar, so it's going to caramelize really quick too.
Oh, shoot. I have to speak it off.
It smells amazing.
Yes.
Do you guys use paprika? Or cumin, that type of stuff when you cook?
There's this soup that I make that calls for cumin as well all the time. It's like chicken. It's a hearty chicken vegetable soup. It calls for quite a bit of cumin and oregano. That's the only time I use it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I rarely make that salad. Or that soup because it's a lot of veggies to chop.
I can't use spicy vegetables. True, well, I did on that one movie. I think the only time I ever used any spices is I was using a recipe and it called for it. But I don't think I've ever really tried to use any spices just to use them. Sometimes I can only use it when it calls for a recipe that you might be using. Other than that, I don't really use it.
I like to make a lot. Do you guys make your own like meat rubs, meat spices, that type of stuff? No?
No, my brother's usually the one cooking.
Yeah, another one that usually puts the stuff, and all he does is add zesty Italian and Worcestershire sauce or something like that. And he marinates that and that's it.
I think it's butter, salt and pepper.
Yeah.
I love a lot of that.
Basic Indian.
Paprika is actually really good for any type of barbecue rub that you make.
Corn.
Yeah, corn, that's my music.
water has cooked down from it. And then when using dry spices, like with the smoke, this one's going to be a smoked paprika. You have smoked paprika, you have sweet paprika, you can have Hungarian paprika, and so they all have a little bit different flavors in them. But this one with the smoked one, it gives it a little deeper flavor. And when you're using spices,
What's that one?
this one is cumin. Or even dry, the dry herbs. You always want to bloom them, which will help to increase their flavor in oil.
I noticed you're using grapeseed oil. Well, is that, like that's probably something people aren't used to.
The grapeseed oil has no flavor to it, as opposed to with olive oil, it does have flavor to it. I don't really, my preference is not to use canola oil because if it sits too long or if it gets too hot, it will start to burn. And it starts to have that fishy flavor, fishy smell to it. And so that will also alter whatever you're cooking as well. But with grapeseed oil, it has no flavor. And then also on top of that, it has a very high smoke point. So you can do the higher temperature cooking with it, and it won't affect it.
Smells good. Very good.
Oh, it smells amazing. We're gonna go see if we're gonna smell it.
Got it done. Now that that has cooked down, we'll take these. Okay, so now that we have this mixture all mixed up, so you see the the mushrooms have cooked down, the onions have started to cook down and caramelize. You have the paprika, you have the garlic, and the cumin in there. Oops, we're just gonna give it to everybody.
Spirits are slaughtering
And we're just gonna pulse this. We're gonna mix this down until it comes pretty fine, not fine meal, but so as you can see, it kind of has a mealy texture to it. So this, I'm going to put into the rice. I like to get it. I don't like to leave them up to you. Okay. And then with that, you're gonna add your black beans that have been drained. And with this, you're gonna take your potato masher and just start to mash it all together, but not until it's pasty, but you still want some of that texture in there. Okay, and then we have some panko breadcrumbs. You can use anywhere from about half a cup to 3/4 of a cup. And use that and put in some Dijon mustard. If it comes out. And this is my favorite. You don't have to put this in. I do. I'm a green chili kind of girl. So I like putting green chili into almost anything. So there's 3 tablespoons in here, but if you want to put 2, that's fine. It's really up to your personal taste.
I know it.
Oh, it can make you cough too. Sorry.
I'm all trying not to breathe in
What was that?
Chili.
Green chili powder? Oh. You're like, I'm not going to use that.
Dijon mustard. Try those.
And again, these don't take much time to put together as well. Add 1 egg. That's going to bind everything together. Yeah,
I just don't want to sneeze.
It can travel. And then, that out. You can put in cilantro if you want as well. Get it all mixed up. Bless you. Bless you. Get these all finished now. And again, it's going to be about the same size as they were before. And then if you're forming these and they feel a little too loose, you can always put them into the refrigerator, the freezer for 10-15 minutes so that they can harden up a little bit more. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
And if you're not sure about size, you can always use like one of those cookie dough rings, or what do we call those, biscuit cutters. You can do that too. But cookie cutter, just put that down and put some in, and it will form it pretty well too. And then with this particular mixture, you end up getting a couple more of the black bean patties than you would if you're using or doing the chickpea patty recipe.
Yeah.
That's true. You can make them as thick or as thin as you want them. That's what they look like uncooked. That usually just got into my throat. All right, now I'll just fry them up too. And then there is, we do have ketchup, all normal toppings for burgers. But the one thing that I like with the chickpea patty is like the yogurt, almost like a tahini sauce, or tzatziki sauce. Have you had that before? So it's made up of mainly yogurt.
Someone watching live on Facebook.
Ooh, who do we have watching live on Facebook? Hi, Facebook person, how are you? So what we're going to be doing, what was her first name?
Linda?
Linda. Hi, Linda. So we've already finished making, I don't know if you saw, we made a Three Sister salad, which is made up of pinto beans, northern beans, black beans. There's some corn, some white kidney beans, tomato. That's what I can do here. Tomato. There's red pepper, jalapeno, squash. There's a lot of stuff in here. It's quite tasty. The two ladies that we have here have tasted it. And then what we've also done, is we've also made some chickpea patties. These are an alternative to having meat burgers. I'm not saying that they're meat in any way, but they're quite tasty on their own. And what I'm going to be using for making for this right now is a dill cucumber sauce. And what it is just plain Greek yogurt. And then this is fresh dill, although you could use dried dill as well. So you can put your dill in there. You have lemon that goes into this. And then the last thing, don't think I have a grater. Do I have a grater? I don't think I have a grater. That's okay.
I was gonna say, I know what that's
I'm not good with these kinds.
That's why I always use a knife.
And then with cucumber, I don't know if you noticed, but the seeds are one of the most watery parts of the cucumber, so I always take them out. Because if not, if you have a salad or if you're making a sauce that uses cucumber, it gets really watered down if you don't take it out. And if you have a grater, you just grate this up really fine. We're just going to chop it really fine. Now with the black bean patties, when you start to fry them up, you will see that they do get a little deeper color than do the chickpea patties.
Is it almost like tartar sauce to the tartar sauce? Is it almost like making a tartar sauce?
Almost comparable to it. But depending on how you make your tartar sauce, some people make it with capers, some people make it with mayonnaise, or your yogurt.
Mine is mayonnaise.
I know of a recipe that you can put like baby gherkins in it, so you get some of that tang with it. That was the I almost ate it at that Greek restaurant in Southwood.
Which Greek restaurant? It's from Yama's and Sophia's.
Oh really? Is it good?
It's very. It's good that I ate it by myself. No shame. I don't know. I'll just treat myself right here.
And if you want to eat it with a bun, you can. If you want to try it bunless and have it with just some lettuce, you can do that as well. But I'm a fan of bun. Yes. To have lettuce, you cut tomato here. And then, would either of you want chickpea or black bean?
I'll take the chickpea.
We'll take chickpea. Okay.
I'll try the other one.
The black bean? So chickpea, if you want any of this.
Yes,
Do you want mustard, ketchup, pickles?
let's just see the garlic first.
Okay.
What is salt?
But the good thing with these compared to if you're cooking a regular burger, how you have a regular burger and they have that fat that starts to shrink, and if you don't put that little divot in it, it starts to explode or expand. And so it almost looks like you have just this meatball. With these, they keep their shape a lot better. We're all looking at you, Ricky.
But
And do you want burger, bun, or lettuce?
I'll try the burger.
Normal toppings?
No tomatoes.
No tomato? I don't know how much lettuce. I'm a huge lettuce fan, so. And then I do have some stuff as well. And there's also pickles. If you want pickles.
Okay.
Is there onions?
No, I'm sorry, there are no onions.
That's mustard. Try this first. Yeah.
They want to see you eat it.
No.
They have really big smiles on their faces right now. Describe it.
like this. You can really taste the green chili. It has with the hamburger, it's usually a little bit tougher. It's really nice and soft. And you can taste the spices in it. It's really good. It is really good. I just, like I said, I tried the veggie burger before, and the one I tried compared to this is something totally different. I love this. This is really good.
Yeah, we look a lot, like I was saying in the beginning, a lot of veggie burgers or meat alternative burgers, they strip out what they want from the actual, raw vegetables or beans or whatever that they're using, and then they have to put in a lot of extra additives, stuff to give it more flavor when they've just stripped it out. So they're more like Frankenstein burgers if you ask me. It's fun.
I can say that I actually tried something like this. I probably wouldn't have tried another one again, but it's really good. But I liked it because you can really taste the green chili. That's what you can really taste. It has that hot taste to it.
I think it'll be good, like, the one I'm eating, we'd be good without the bun and all that, like with just this and the sauce.
Yeah, everybody has a different take on how they like to put it together. With the chick patty, I do know a lot of people that just like it with just the lettuce, just the sauce and the tomato, and that's it. With me, I like it with the whole bun and everything. I've never tasted the black bean burger again. I can't eat mushrooms, so I'm out. But just, for me, just knowing what spices play off of each other, which kind of give more of that smoky flavor, that earthy flavor, those deeper notes that play off of each other, that also work well with mushrooms in that. Just how I ended up coming up with that one.
I can't really tell if I taste anything because the one that I really taste a lot is green chili. And I think you have to put garlic in it, right?
There's some garlic in it.
Yeah, you can't taste garlic.
Can you taste the onion?
No, not really.
No?
Not really taste much of it.
Well,
It's
the
different with the pickle too.
good thing about them is that no ingredient should really overplay or outdo another one. Where I kind of like the green chili in it because it gives me that green chili fix. But you don't have to put it in there if you don't want to.
I love green chili, so having that chili taste is good. Nothing is bad, it's good.
But also it's
Spicy.
when they get to a point, you can also put, if you want like that Swiss on there, you can always put, the cheese, you can put any extra toppings on it that you want. If you want grilled onions on top of it as well, to give more of that grilled onion taste, you can. But this is just a base, kind of like a hamburger patty, and you can just build on top of it with any extra toppings that you want.
This one to me don't have too much of a taste. This one has
Yes,
a
the
lot
black
of.
bean one has a lot more, like tons of flavor. The chickpea one is more like a mellow, not so, strong, which might be good, for someone that, is kind of hesitant to try something new. And then when you graduate,
You graduate from chickpeas to black
to the
beans.
black bean, and it is amazing. You can definitely taste the walnut. I can taste the
You can
walnut.
taste the walnuts.
3 people on?
3 people on. Hi, Facebook followers, watchers. We've just finished up with our Beans Miracle Fruit demonstration. Again, our Three Sisters bean salad. We have the chickpea patties. And then also we just finished making black bean patties. So the two ladies that we have here just said that the difference between the two is chickpea is a little more mellow in flavor. And then also with the black bean, this one is a little more intense flavor. This one we'll put some green chili into. But the other difference between the two is, in case you have allergies, this one is made with a tahini, which is a sesame seed sauce, and then this one is made with walnuts. So some people might have nut allergies, some may not. And then this also has mushrooms in it. So some people, again, depending on food allergies, may or may not be able to have the mushrooms. But this one is another alternative for that. All right, so that pretty much wraps up our glorious bean demonstration on different ways to use beans rather than just refrying them, making those traditional soups that we do with them. So go out, enjoy, explore, and wait, 2?
Question.
Yes, question. What's the question?
Will they be able to see the recipes later?
The
The
recipes
menus?
will be posted on Facebook later. I'm not sure how much later. How much later?
Maybe tonight. Maybe tonight.
Possibly tonight, but they will be up sometime this week. But yes, that is for all 3 of them that you will have the recipes. Any other questions?
No, I don't have any, but I think it's very delicious.
Yes, it's very, very delicious. Something quite different that
Yes.
you're not used to. Like refreshing.
It's taking me out of my box.
Yay, we took you out of your box.
No other question.
Okay. Well, thank you for letting me cook for you tonight. And if you try any of the recipes, post it on Facebook, email. Just let us know how you liked it. You know, if there's something that you want to learn how to cook, you know, make a healthier version of something, let us know. I like a challenge. So again, try them out. Let us know what you think. Have a good evening.
Minister, thanks for sharing.
You're welcome. Very awesome.
I know.
Oh, wait, hold on. I still forgot to give this out too. This is the one you like.
Oh, yeah. Grandma's gonna love that.
What?
I don't know what cups.
Have no cups? You can't go to a barbecue without some kind of tea. This is a hibiscus lemonade.